I stood in the center of a private dining room at an upscale Chicago hotel, holding a leather folder that contained a brunch bill nearing $400. No one else at the table even glanced at it, but that wasn't why my fingers felt numb. Across from me, my younger sister Jenny didn't reach for her purse either. Instead, she slid a thick, glossy brochure across the white tablecloth. It stopped beside my untouched mimosa with a soft, deliberate thud. I looked down. Sterling Chateau, one of the most exclusive wedding venues in the city. The venue cost increased, Jenny said flatly, like she was announcing a change in the weather. I need you to cover the difference. I lifted my eyes slowly. How much? $85,000, she replied, already scrolling on her phone. If it's not wired by Monday, we lose the date, and the family looks bad. She didn't say please. She didn't explain. She didn't even look at me. $85,000. She said it without blinking, as if she were asking me to pass the salt. Pure entitlement, served with perfect posture and designer confidence. I stared at the brochure, then back at her face. My pulse stayed calm. My voice did not waver. No. The words settled between us like a dropped plate. For a brief moment, the hum of the restaurant disappeared. No clinking cutlery. No murmured conversations. Just silence. Jenny's smile didn't fade, it cracked. What do you mean, no? She whispered, eyes narrowing. We already booked everything. Travis told his parents it was handled. Then Travis should pay, I said, calmly lifting my water glass. Or you should. But I'm not financing an $85,000 fantasy because you two can't manage money. She let out a short laugh, sharp, brittle. I knew that sound. It was the warning before a tantrum. This isn't about math, Joyce, she snapped. There were unforeseen circumstances. Travis went a little over budget during his bachelor party. A little? I raised an eyebrow. He blew the venue deposit in Vegas, didn't he? She didn't deny it. It doesn't matter where the money went, she said, leaning forward, fingers digging into the tablecloth. What matters is that you have it. You're the successful one. You make this kind of money all the time. Don't act like this is hard for you. There it was. The label she always used when she needed something. The fixer, the responsible one, the sister who existed to clean up messes. My income isn't the issue, I replied, my tone smooth and cold. The issue is that you think I'm a bank account with a pulse. I'm not paying. Not now. Not ever. I stood, folded my napkin neatly, and reached for my coat. If you walk out, Jenny hissed, her voice suddenly venomous, I'll tell everyone about Grandma's emerald necklace. My hand froze. The emeralds had vanished 3 years earlier from the family safe, worth a small fortune. Everyone knew they were gone. No one knew who took them. I'll say you pawned them, she continued, eyes glittering with satisfaction. I'll tell Dad, the police, your clients. How many billionaires trust someone who steals from her own grandmother? I turned back slowly. In my profession, threats are evaluated, not feared. I looked past the makeup, the engagement ring, the curated perfection, and saw desperation. You really want to do this? I asked quietly. I want my wedding, she said, smiling sweetly. Pay me, or I destroy you. I didn't answer. I didn't argue. I simply turned and walked out, leaving her alone with the bill and her illusions of control. I thought it was over. I was wrong. I hadn't reached the hotel doors when I saw them, my parents waiting near the concierge desk, arms crossed like judges delivering a verdict. We saw you leave, my mother said, plucking imaginary lint from my coat. You embarrassed your sister. Go back and fix it. She tried to blackmail me, I said. She threatened my career. My father sighed, checking his watch. She's under stress. Weddings are emotional. She wants $85,000, I snapped. That's not stress, that's extortion. It's family, my mother corrected sharply. And you can afford it. There it was, the pattern that had shaped my entire life. I remembered being 20, juggling 3 jobs while Jenny received a brand new car for passing her driving test. I remembered being told I was strong, which apparently meant I didn't need help. You're doing it again, I said quietly, punishing me for being capable. Stop being selfish, my mother replied coldly. Your sister needs this. You don't. I moved out at 18, I said. I haven't asked you for anything in 14 years. I owe you nothing. We raised you, my father said, stepping closer. That's a debt. I looked at them, well-dressed, comfortable, unashamed. Don't worry, I said, stepping around them. I won't be coming to dinner. Outside, the Chicago wind cut sharp and clean. My hands shook, not from fear, but clarity. I finally understood that to survive this, I couldn't be their daughter anymore. I had to become something far more dangerous, a stranger who remembered everything. When I reached my apartment, the lights were low. Logan was already there, seated in front of multiple glowing monitors. They cornered you, he said without turning. It's worse, I replied. Jenny wants $85,000, and she threatened to destroy me if I refuse. That was when Logan went still. And I realized the real war hadn't started at brunch. It had already been waiting for me at home. Logan's stillness was never a good sign. In the 2 years we'd been quietly married, I had learned the difference between his calm and his silence. Calm meant control. Silence meant something lethal had just clicked into place. The emeralds, he said slowly. The ones that disappeared after Jenny's engagement party. Yes, I replied. She's using them as leverage. If she tells my clients I stole from my own family, my clearance is gone. My career collapses. Logan turned back to the screens. It would, he agreed. If perception were the only thing that mattered. I crossed the room, arms wrapped tightly around myself. Outside the window, snow drifted between skyscrapers, blurring the city lights. I might have to pay her, I admitted quietly. $85,000 is cheaper than losing everything. Logan exhaled once, sharp and controlled. Sit down. I did. He tapped a key. The main monitor shifted, filling with charts, timelines, transaction trails. It wasn't a resume or an explanation of his past. It was proof. I started monitoring Jenny's digital footprint after the engagement, he said. Her spending patterns didn't match her income, not even close. That doesn't surprise me, I muttered. It should, he replied, because she wasn't spending her money. A timeline appeared, credit inquiries, account openings, flagged transactions. She didn't pay the venue deposit, Logan continued, and she didn't use Travis's money either. Then whose? I asked. He enlarged a line of data at the top of the screen. My stomach dropped. That's my social security number, I whispered. Yes, Logan said evenly. It is. The room felt suddenly smaller, tighter. But I never opened those accounts. I know. He pulled up scanned documents, credit card agreements, retail accounts, a luxury lease application. Someone did, he said, and they did it very carefully. I stared at the screen, my mind scrambling for logic. How did she get past verification, two-factor authentication, identity checks? She didn't need to, Logan replied. She used your old passport, the one you thought you lost at your parents' house last Christmas. She paired it with a burner phone registered in your name and rerouted mail to a P.O. box. He clicked again. A lease agreement filled the screen. Monthly rent, $12,000. Location, Gold Coast penthouse. Guarantor, Joyce Harper. My legs gave out. I sank into the chair. She's living there, I whispered. For 3 months, Logan confirmed. You're the guarantor. If she misses a payment, they sue you. The images blurred as the reality crashed down. The designer wardrobe, the sudden lifestyle upgrade, the refusal to let anyone visit her apartment. It hadn't been success. It had been theft. She stole my identity, I said hoarsely. She exploited it, Logan corrected, and she maxed it out. He activated the projector. My credit report flooded the wall, 6 feet tall, merciless. Credit score, 540. Open balances, 87,000 plus. Delinquencies, multiple. My pristine financial record had been gutted. Chase Sapphire, Logan read aloud. 28,000, past due. I don't own that card, I said faintly. You do now. Another account appeared, then another. Department store cards, luxury travel charges, cash advances. She built her wedding, her apartment, her life, Logan said, on your name. Rage replaced shock, cold and precise. This isn't family drama, I said. This is federal crime. Identity theft, wire fraud, forgery, Logan replied, and it gets worse. He turned off the projector. The room fell into shadow. She's extorting you for $85,000, I realized. Because she knows the minimum payments are coming due. She needs your cash to keep collectors from calling your office. Yes, Logan said. You were never meant to say no. He handed me a thick folder. Police report drafts, bank affidavits, credit freeze confirmations, an eviction notice already prepared. When were you going to tell me? I asked softly. When you were safe, he replied. You are now. My phone buzzed, a message from Jenny. Dinner tonight, penthouse, let's smooth things over. She invited us, I said, looking up. Logan's mouth curved into a calm, surgical smile. Then we should go. The penthouse was cold in every sense of the word. The heating system hummed weakly, failing. Jenny stood near the window in a thin designer dress, arms crossed tightly. They're fixing the heat, she said too quickly. I know, I replied. Utilities shut off after 60 days of non-payment. Her eyes flickered. Our parents sat stiffly on rented furniture, coats still on. Travis hovered near the wall, avoiding eye contact. My father gestured toward a chair. Sit, let's finish this. Jenny handed me a single-page document. A loan agreement. No interest, no terms, just my signature at the bottom. If you don't sign, she said, tapping her phone, your boss gets an email. I looked at the paper, at the family watching me like I owed them something. You're right, I said calmly. Let's settle debts. The door opened. Logan entered carrying the projector. He placed it on the table directly over Jenny's contract and turned it on. My credit report lit the wall. Gasps, confusion. That, I said evenly, is my financial identity. The one you stole. The screen shifted to the lease agreement. You forged my signature, I continued. You committed felony fraud. Jenny screamed. Denials poured out, frantic and incoherent. Logan clicked again. An identity theft affidavit, time-stamped, filed hours earlier. Accounts are frozen, I said. Eviction is processing. Charges are pending. Silence crushed the room. You're ruining her life, my mother whispered. No, I replied. She did that herself. Jenny lunged toward the door, blocking it. I already sent the email, she shrieked, shoving her phone at me. Your CEO knows everything. I didn't flinch. Oh, Jenny, I said softly. Logan checked his phone. You didn't research your leverage. Her face drained of color. He owns the venue, I added calmly, and he just canceled your booking. The reply glowed on Logan's screen. Contract terminated, deposit forfeited, legal action pending. Jenny collapsed. I stepped past her without looking back. The fallout didn't wait for morning. By the time Logan and I reached the elevator, my phone was already vibrating with notifications. Missed calls, frantic texts, voicemails layered with panic. I didn't open any of them. For the first time in my life, urgency from my family meant nothing to me. The elevator doors closed softly, sealing the penthouse and everything it represented away. She's finished, Logan said quietly as we descended. No, I replied, staring at my reflection in the mirrored wall. She finished herself. I just stopped catching her. That night, the machinery of consequences began to move. Accounts were frozen before dawn. Creditors who had ignored minimum payments for months suddenly discovered fraud flags tied to federal affidavits. The property management company served notice by noon. By evening, Jenny's designer life had collapsed into cardboard boxes and silence. Travis didn't even last 24 hours. He left with a duffel bag and a carefully worded text explaining that this wasn't what he signed up for. When the luxury vanished, so did his loyalty. Jenny moved back into my parents' guest room. They called me the next day. I let it go to voicemail. My mother's message was clipped and furious. My father's was slower, heavier, laced with disappointment. Neither asked if I was okay. Neither apologized. They spoke only of shame, family, and what people would think. I deleted them all. 2 weeks later, I sat in my actual home, warm, quiet, intentional. The kind of silence you choose, not the kind imposed on you. A single envelope lay on the table in front of me, stamped and official. Inside was a court order. Legal name change approved? I read it twice. Joyce Harper had been a role, a guarantor, a buffer, a woman shaped by obligation and punished for competence. She was done. Logan leaned against the doorway, watching me carefully. You don't have to rush it. I'm not rushing, I said. I'm closing a chapter. I signed the document, not out of anger, not out of spite. Out of finality. The criminal case moved quickly. Identity theft leaves a clean trail when the victim cooperates. Jenny's signature forgery sealed it. Her text messages finished it. The lie about the emeralds didn't survive basic scrutiny once investigators opened the safe history and guest lists. The truth surfaced easily. She confessed within days. Not to protect anyone, but because she thought remorse might save her. It didn't. Plea deals are built on evidence, not tears. My parents attended the first hearing. They didn't look at me. They looked older, smaller, as if the story they told themselves for decades, that one daughter was fragile and the other indestructible, had finally collapsed under the weight of reality. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt distance. That was the real victory. Weeks later, an email arrived from my CEO. Handled fully. Your integrity remains unquestioned. Take the time you need. I closed the laptop and exhaled. For years, I had built my career managing crises for powerful people. Containment, control, damage limitation. I had never considered that the most dangerous crisis I would face was one I was born into. Logan poured 2 cups of coffee and handed me one. Any regrets? I thought about it. About brunch tables and glossy brochures, about childhood excuses dressed up as love, about how often strength had been used against me. No, I said finally, just clarity. The last message came from Jenny 3 months later. It wasn't angry, it wasn't manipulative. It was empty. I hope you're happy. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I blocked the number. Happiness, I had learned, wasn't loud. It didn't demand sacrifices or obedience. It didn't threaten reputations or steal identities. It was quiet, stable, earned. That night, Logan and I sat on the balcony, the city glowing below us. No penthouse, no borrowed luxury. Just a life built cleanly, honestly, without leverage or lies. They wanted a wedding, I said softly. They wanted a bailout. They wanted control. Logan nodded. And they got consequences. I smiled, not because I had won, but because I had finally stepped out of a system designed to consume me. They lost a fixer. They lost a safety net. They lost access. What they gained was silence. And for the first time in my life, that silence didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like freedom.